First, I'd like to say thank you to the Atheist Hub for mirroring my video Snickerdoodles. It was a big help them doing that, so cheers. To celebrate, I had a glass of wine that comes from a box and 3 pieces of cheesecake. I'd also like to thank Wildwood Claire for viewing and complimenting my video and then giving me a shout out in this morning's Coffee with Claire. That was awesome, and I was at work and I could barely contain my excitement. It was so awesome. Then I ate the rest of the cheesecake when I got home. I'd also like to welcome all my new subscribers to the channel. I appreciate all the recent views and comments that I've gotten, so without further ado, here is the third part in my Deconversion series, Demons Amongst Us.
So with the newest trends in lawmaking, hopefully we can reduce our carbon dioxide emissions before it's too late.
I don't believe that. I heard we can't destroy the world.
Where'd you hear that?
Church.
Uh-huh.
I heard that the balance of the Earth is so tenuous that if it were 100 feet or so farther from or closer to the sun, it would kill us all. That it was truly created for us. That all the balances in the world are so perfect there must be a
Let
designer.
me get this straight, Atticus. You'll believe everything you just said, but you won't believe that dumping millions of tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and oceans will change any of that.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Ever watch The Exorcist? To this day, even though I'm an atheist and a skeptic and a full-grown adult, I cannot watch that movie without the slightest fear of putting my feet down and out of the bed later that night. It's one of the greatest horror and psychological thrillers ever made. Because our minds have adapted to encompass the ability to determine the outcomes of events, we also have the unique and distinct capability of imagining things that cannot happen, too. Children are the most susceptible to this kind of thing. Magical thinking. It makes us dream of fat-ass Santa delivering presents down our chimney, or a magical fairy taking our teeth and leaving money behind. Men walking on water. It can turn you into Superman. It can also make you terrified of little possessed girls under your bed ready to take a chunk out of your foot the moment you step out. As we develop these capabilities over time, it can be a great asset. Human imagination is so wonderful. It's cause for the greatest books, movies, theories, and technologies ever made. It is also easily taken for granted. You're told your whole life that God is real. It's a package deal. The Bible is his book and that everything in it is true. Believe it or else. At around 13, I began to rebel against the system, along with my older brother. I was a skater. And yeah, I'm going to be the guy that says it. I did it before it was cool to be a rebel skater. I adopted a philosophy of vegetarian, straight-edge, hardcore-ness, or whatever. That's right, the philosophy of not eating meat, not doing drugs, and not being a regular teenager was my philosophy. It seemed the Christian thing to do. Rebelling against the rebelliousness. I was overtly Christian. I prayed almost daily to be straight, that Jesus would never leave me. Skating was an outlet that actually kept me out of trouble, with the exception of the occasional police officer that would ask us to leave the parking lot or whatever haunt we happened to be at. I really never did anything bad. This was before there was a skate park on every corner. We would walk for hours searching for the perfect sidewalk that my brother's friends and I, the little tag-along, could wax and ride until sundown. I was never really any good at it. I thought that eating animals was wrong and that I was a head above the rest for not doing it. It fit perfectly with the music scene I was into. 108, Shelter, Earth Crisis, amongst a plethora of others that gave me fuel for my philosophy, which was... what, again? That's what those years are about, figuring it out. Rapid growth, hormones, learning, mistakes, having fun, rock and roll. Teasing out who you are. I look back and wonder just how much better my life would have been if religion hadn't been in the mix. But I can't go back. I wouldn't want to anyway. My obsessive tendencies had begun to crop up in ways I hadn't noticed as obsessive until much later. For instance, thinking obsessive thoughts about the people I loved being hurt by others or me, and compulsively repeating sentences in my head to ward off these thoughts, then deluding myself that I was a bad person for ever having thought these things. That's kind of how OCD works. The thought of something happening, then the fear of it happening, anxiety, then compulsively committing rituals or actions in order to alleviate the anxiety. Having somehow convinced myself that the ritual had stopped it from happening, I would think, then what if it hadn't worked? Then the cycle would start all over again. Magical thinking in a loop that isn't real, or even if it could be real, not being able to accept that bad things can happen, and just living my life. I attended youth group weekly and made friends there too, but my style of dress and musical taste made it difficult not to stand out. My parents had recently separated, and this may have contributed to my recent rebelliousness. It was enough that the new pastor had asked me if I would like to be counseled.
What's that?
I asked.
Just where you talk to me about your life and things that are going on. See if I can help you out.
Sure.
So over several weeks he counseled me about my life, and he thought it was a good idea that I stay off drugs and continued coming to youth group. I loved it. I had questions. He had answers.
So wait, you like the music you're into because it's brutal and hardcore. You got pushed around so much in the mosh pit the first time you went that you got a black eye, and you liked that?
Yeah, it was awesome.
I don't know if I'd like that. That music sounds so angry. Sounds like the devil's in it.
How do I stop the devil from getting into my life?
Well, firstly, I wouldn't listen to that music you've been listening to. I would pray over your life so that you can serve God and His will.
So I stopped. I threw away my metal albums, bought Christian music to replace it. He had a way of wearing down on me to get to the heart of me. I was a kid. A stupid kid. He would work on me until I cried and told him every aspect of my life, laying at the feet of the Lord everything I had ever done.
I'm gay.
I know, I kind of figured.
What do I do about it? How can I stop? I worry about it all the time.
There's a demon out to get you, son. It'll latch itself on anyone susceptible and make them think thoughts that aren't true.
How do I make it go away?
Let me pray over you.
He put his hands on my head and began to pray.
Father in heaven, I would ask that you would watch over young Atticus here, and let your light shine in and through him. Let him know that you love him, and... Demon of homosexuality, get out of him. I rebuke you in the name of Christ. Get out of him. Now!
I began to cry. He said that the demon was out to get me, not in me. I was terrified. With my head bowed, I felt what I wanted, what I needed. Relief. I thought it was the spirit, but it was just a young man gripping his own thigh so tightly that his fingernails bit into the skin, making it bleed. I let go. He was done.
Now the only way it can come back is if you let it.
From that point on, I was anew. My religion and my mental illness had merely been neighbors that occasionally said hello in their driveways. At this point, they shook hands, tore down their fences, and became best friends for a very long time.